What's up, guys? Sandy here, back again. But today I'm bringing you something, well, I guess severely different, because instead of Pokemon, because this is an analysis video on the, I just dropped a pen, on the Red Sox and Dodgers enormous blockbuster trade. So if you're a fan of baseball, or basically sports in general, if you watch SportsCenter, it was on there all night yesterday, but you saw that the Red Sox finally dumped these goony bastards that were on their team that do nothing but whine and complain and get hurt. So, if you haven't seen the trade yet, it's Josh Beckett, shipped out, Adrian Gonzalez, shipped out, Carl Crawford, shipped out as well, and Nick Punto. He wasn't a problem at all. He's just a utility guy that the Dodgers wanted. So they Sox said, "Here you go, take him. If you take these contracts, you can take this guy as well." And the Red Sox in return got James Loney. Let's see here, Jerry Sands. I haven't heard of him. I think he's just kind of a utility outfielder type of guy. And then we got Ruby De La Rosa, who's a pitching prospect. Ivan DeJesus, who is an infielder, I believe. And I think we got two players to be named later, and not really the centerpiece, but, well, I guess you could call him the centerpiece, is Webster. Is it Alan Webster, I believe? I think it's Alan Webster. But he's a pitcher, and he was the second best overall prospect on the Dodgers farm system. He's 22 years old, and apparently he's a sinker ball pitcher, reach the mid-90s, which is pretty good for sinker. And there his minor league stats is here, which aren't very impressive, but they never are. So, what do I think about this trade as a Red Sox fan? I like it. It's Crawford wasn't really a clubhouse problem. He was just more of a, he just kept getting hurt, and if he stuck around here, he would have been the perpetual J.D. Drew. When J.D. Drew was here, he always produced. Everyone had a problem with him. He was quiet to the media, but he always produced. But nobody could get around the fact that he was making $15 million a year, because he was producing. It just wasn't $15 million a year producing. So it's like, if Crawford stays here, he's going to do the same thing. They're going to say, well, he's not performing like he did when he was back in Tampa. He'll never be the same player. But what you don't understand, he's still producing. And with the Red Sox, if you have a guy who makes $15 million a year and still produces, that's not the biggest deal, because the Sox have the third highest payroll in the majors. It's like $200 million. So you take a 15 mil chip out of there, that's nothing. And yeah, so he wasn't really a problem. I wouldn't be too upset if he stayed in this trade, but whatever. It's not the biggest of deals. And Beckett, that's the main guy. You just got to get the hell out of here. He's not producing. He's an asshole in the locker room. He's just a dick overall. He's just a dick guy you don't want on your team. Out of his prime, out of shape, won't work out, and he's just an asshole. So, kick him out. He's gone. Finally, we can just wash our hands of the whole Beckett and get out of here. I mean, I'll give the guy props. He was great. The year we won the World Series, a couple years in between there, he was great. He wins 16, 17, 18 games. He was an excellent pitcher when he was in his prime, but his time's done. I mean, if he goes out to LA with the Dodgers, I could see him picking it up a little more. The NL's a little easier to pitch in. He's actually a decent hitter too, which is kind of funny. But he's a decent. Well, yeah, he might be able to conjure up a little bit more out there in LA, and I wouldn't mind seeing him succeed. I don't mind him that much. I mean, he is kind of a douchebag, but I liked him when the Red Sox won their World Series and whatnot. So, we got him out of here. And Gonzalez is this whole thing about Gonzalez. He didn't seem to be a locker room problem, but I think he kind of keeps it under wraps. He's more of a He's not going to talk to the media. He's going to stick to himself and just play out. And I just didn't see him as a cornerstone. I don't see him as a cornerstone of a franchise, a guy that you want to keep around for, 8 years, 10 years, whatever. He's not a leader. He'll produce. He'll give you the 20 home runs, 100 RBIs every year, but he's not vocal enough. He's not going to be a leader, which is something the Red Sox desperately need right now, this time of Bobby V peril and whatnot. And he just doesn't have the mentality I like. Ortiz yesterday went out there, first game off the DL, and what did he do? He was a player of the game. 2 for 3, drove in 2 runs, couple of doubles. He was great. He's not playing 100%. When he hit that double, he was limping into second base. I can just see if Gonzalez had the same type of injury, like an Achilles rupture or whatever Ortiz ended up having, Gonzalez would just shut it down for the year. He'd just, oh guys, I can't. I'm just gonna shut it down. You'll see me next year. No, Ortiz comes out, hobbles around the bases with a team that doesn't even have a shot at making the playoffs, and that just shows you the character between a guy you either want, Gonzalez, Ortiz produces just as much as Gonzalez. It's just the mentality you want on the team, and you want the Ortiz mentality on the team, not the Gonzalez mentality of the team. And now the James Loney, who we're getting back, he's, I don't know, he's not a long-term solution, obviously. I mean, I guess he's fine for the rest of the year, but he was just a guy that never lived up to what people wanted him to be, which when he came up with the Dodgers, he was, this guy's going to be with us for 5, 6, 7 years, first baseman, hit 30 home runs a year, that type of guy, but he just couldn't produce the pop that the Dodgers fans and everybody wanted. What is he at? I think his most home runs in a season was like 15 or something. Yeah, his lifetime average was 284, and never hit more than 15 home runs. So, he's like consistent. He'll get a few hits here and there, but he's not, again, like Gonzalez. Well, Gonzalez is much better than Loney, but again, he's not a cornerstone type of guy who I could see, just being out of here at the end of the season. Just, we'll take him because I believe he's a free agent at the end of the season. So, in all likelihood, he'll be out of here. The main focus of this trade, obviously, is just to dump those contracts out of here. That's think about it, $270 million by getting rid of these 4 guys. You could buy like 3 teams with 3 teams worth of players with $270 million on the payroll. And now the real thing to see here is, what were the Red Sox intentions with this trade? Are they doing this just to wash their hands and cleanse of these 4 a-hole dudes and just get all the money off the books and start fresh, get some fresh arms up here, and just do what they can, rebuild, do what they can with what they have now? Or is this, alright, now that we got these guys out of town, this winter we can go after all these guys, which I'm kind of thinking is what they're looking at, especially since these prospects they got back. I mean, the Webster dude seems to be a high prospect. He could be good, but other than that, there aren't really any young. I guess Ruby De La Rosa is a good arm, but we'll see with him. But I'm thinking they're gearing up for this winter because Josh Hamilton's a free agent, so I could definitely see the Red Sox going after him. And also, he's not a free agent yet, but Ellsbury, this trade just speaks volumes for Ellsbury, because now that 270 mil are off the books, it looks like a good portion of that could be going to Ellsbury, because when we have these 3 guys still sticking around in town, there's no way we sign Ellsbury. Boris is going to demand way too much money that the Red Sox wouldn't even come close to having. But now with these 3 guys out, this is saying, alright, well now our chances for Ellsbury go through the roof, way back up from, maybe 20% re-signing to about 75, 80 even maybe. So that's big if they can re-sign Ellsbury after these guys, because then you got Ellsbury. If you can get Hamilton, then you got Hamilton out in the outfield, which is big. But the only thing with that is they're both center field, and when we put Ellsbury out in left field, the whole disaster of that ensued with him running into Beltray and being out for the season. But yeah, we'll see which one of them, if he ever came here, I guess we'll see which one of them would move their spot, and I'm assuming it would be Hamilton since Ellsbury's already been here. He's technically more established here than Hamilton would be, because you never know what the player's going to be like. John Lackey. And actually, that's another point. What does this mean for Lackey? Does this mean they're going to keep this asshole in town and see what he's going to do next year? I mean, I guess give him a shot, because now that his wingman, partner in crime, Beckett's gone, hopefully Lester doesn't fall into that role and become the D-bag that Lackey is. But I mean, I guess they'll keep Lackey since now they got a couple of holes in the starting rotation. So you got that. Daisuke, I think Daisuke is probably out of here too. I wouldn't mind seeing them re-sign him, but he's, after that great year he had, he's just been a disaster. So I think he's out of here. And then another name that I was thinking about is Felix Hernandez. Are they gearing up these young arms, these young players? Are they gearing up for maybe pushing for Felix Hernandez? Because the Red Sox and Hernandez have been linked together for a while. Every time a trading deadline of some sort comes around, it's always, are the Red Sox looking at Felix Hernandez? And maybe now they have some pieces that they can say, all right, Mariners, we know you're adamant in saying, back off, we're not giving up Hernandez, but now you might have some prospects where you can say, all right, we'll just take a look at the farm system, take a look at some other pieces in the majors you might want, and get back to us. And that could be something to look out for, because, I mean, if we go out and sign Hamilton in the offseason, get Felix Hernandez, maybe get one more just like fifth starter or something to throw in there with Aaron Cook or something, that is, I mean, at that top three of Hernandez, maybe a back to normal Lester and Buchholz, that is scary. That is not a 1-2-3 punch you want to face in the offseason. I mean, not the offseason, the postseason. Duh. That's scary. And then you also got DuBrant, who's, he's been great this year. He's really shown that he's ready for the majors, and he can, be a good starter, a quality starter that you want on your team. So, yeah, that's something to look out for. And then, what else was I going to talk about? There was one or two more things I wanted to touch on. I can't remember them now. Oh, this also leaves the hole at first base, because Loney, my thinking right now is that Loney's not going to stick around after this year. He's just a name that they need to take off the Dodgers' hands and just, play out the season, fill up that void at first base. But then that leaves the question of, what do you do next year? And who's a free agent next year? I heard Mike Napoli. Him and Salty could, platoon at first and catcher. They could switch off every few nights, stuff like that. Or they could just have Lavarnway catch and have Salty and Napoli play first or something like that. That's always an option, because Napoli's always murdered the Red Sox. When he's on the Angels, now he's on Texas. Every time he comes to Fenway, he just destroys the ball. Like, it gets ugly when he's at the plate at Fenway, but that's a name to look out for. And then Swisher. Nick Swisher's a free agent, but I saw something recently that said he was looking for upwards of $100 million. It's like, dude, you're really overvaluing yourself. Swisher's just a character guy, a good guy to have in the locker room and shit like that. He's gonna produce. Don't get me wrong. He's a good player. He's gonna hit his 25 home runs, driving 90 to 100 runs. But still, upwards of $100 million. That is a little outrageous for freaking Nick Swisher. But if he's willing to, if the Yankees are adamant in saying, yeah, we like you, but we're not freaking giving you that much, maybe the Red Sox might swoop in and be like, hey, we won't give you $100 million, obviously, but we'll give you, how about this? And then maybe he can say, the Yankees are I'll kind of spite the Yankees because they won't give me my money, so I'll go to the Red Sox and take their money. A thing like that. Johnny Damon vice versa, if you will. So I guess that kind of sums up my thoughts on this whole thing. I need to look more into this Ruby De La Rosa, because I've seen the Webster guy. He's supposed to be a pretty good electric pitcher, but I don't really know about De La Rosa. I know he's been in the majors before. I'm pretty sure he pitched like a game or two against the. I'm not sure if he started, but I know he's pitched in the majors before, and I'm not really sure what type of pitcher he is. If he's like a some kind of specialist like sinker or something like that, but I doubt it. He's probably just I'll look into that more, see what's going on with him. And oh, look at that! They updated the Dodgers roster with Josh Beckett, Adrian Gonzalez. Oh, actually, they still have Ruby De La Rosa on the roster, so I'm not sure. Carl Crawford. Did we not get Ruby De La Rosa? Huh. I guess that's something to look into. But yeah, with this trade, the Dodgers kind of become the Yankees of the West. They just have so many big contracts now with Hanley, Victorino, Blanton, Gonzalez, Beckett, Crawford, Kemp, Ethier, who plays second? I think Mark Ellis plays second or something, so that's not a big contract, but still, just this trade, just wow. It really works out. It works out for the Red Sox for the future, and it works out for the Dodgers now. So, in conclusion, I approve. I approve, Red Sox. I applaud you for the trade. It was very good. And now, that's the last thing I want to talk about was Bobby V. Now, since the trade happened, I've been hearing, well, maybe this paves the way for Bobby V to come back next year. No. He needs to get the hell out of here because, we got rid of these three guys who clearly don't like Bobby V. Well, I'm not too sure about Crawford, but I know Beckett and Gonzalez obviously don't like Bobby V. But we still have plenty of players that don't like Bobby V. Possibly the center of our franchise, Pedroia, doesn't even like Bobby V. He was one of the first guys to come out and say that he didn't come out and say he doesn't like him, but basically say I don't like him. And you can't have that next year. You can't have him trying to coach this team one more year because it's just going to turn into the same old disaster no matter what happens. And that's another thing for the free agents next year, or in the winter. If they're thinking Bobby V's coming back for another year, they're going to, in the back of their mind, they're going to be thinking, well, geez, the last year with Bobby V was such a disaster. I don't want to go to that. I don't want to go there and just be a media soap opera. I want to go and play baseball and be a good player somewhere, not be a soap opera in Boston with Bobby V and his little goonies. So, yeah, get Bobby V the hell out of here. I don't really know what there is for candidates out there, but just get Bobby V out of here. Just, honestly, he needs to get the hell out of here. I forget the other guy, the other finalist they had for the position. It was Bobby V and some other guy during the off-season before they hired Bobby V, but maybe look into getting that guy, because he seemed like a more, small name, just fundamentally good coach that maybe could whip these guys into shape and maybe turn it around next year. So, and that's the other thing I saw was Ben Cherington. This whole trade sprouted from a call from the Dodgers. They didn't call Cherington, they called Lucchino and asked about the availability of Gonzalez and whatnot. So that's another public slap in the face of Ben Cherington and saying, hey, fuck you, you're not even our GM, so suck my dick. Just shit like that is, I don't know about Cherington. He doesn't he's not vocal enough to be like a GM, it seems. I don't know. There's just something about him I don't really like. I mean, obviously it was time for Theo to leave, but this guy does not seem to be the guy for the job. In the offseason, they got to do hella front office revamps and player revamps and management revamps and just everything. They need to evaluate and see who needs to get the hell out of here. Whether it's Cherington, whether it's Lucchino, whether it's Bobby V, whether it's Ellsbury, Pedroia, whatever. Just find out what is wrong and get it out of here. I don't think Ellsbury and Pedroia are the problem, obviously, but I mean Pedroia. It seemed he was having a bad season, but it's actually not that bad. I mean, he's hitting 285, like 12-ish home runs. You know, the power numbers are down a little bit, but he's still doing pretty decent. And I know Ellsbury hasn't been producing as much, but he will in time. He'll get back to his old self, and I mean, he may never have that same pop he had last year with the 30 home runs, but I can still see him consistently hitting 20 home runs and shit like that. So, with that, I guess we will conclude our little talk here about the Red Sox. That was 21 minutes. Not bad. Not too shabby. But, leave down in the comments your thoughts about the Red Sox, the Dodgers, Bobby V, Gonzalez, Crawford, all that. And, I'm going to try to be bringing you guys more sports videos, because I tried to do one on the NBA draft, but I screwed up my recording, and it messed up the audio and everything, and it was the night before the draft, so I couldn't make another one, and yeah. So, I'll be making more sports videos, because that's what I enjoy doing. So, like I said, leave comments below on your thoughts about the trade, and subscribe and do your thing and whatnot. And I will see you guys next time. Deuces.